So MIT just did another AI study and they got some interesting findings. For example, the one discussed in this article I want to talk about, where it says that AI isn't replacing you, it's just wasting your boss's money. If you're feeling anxious about whether AI will take your job, MIT has some surprising news. A new study just revealed that nearly every company trying to use AI is failing to see any return on it, which is very important, and we'll go down this rabbit hole in a moment. So the study itself was called the Gen AI Divide, the State of AI in Business 2025. And it found that fewer than 1 in 10 AI pilots make any real money. This means that only 5% of projects are creating millions in value and the rest are eating up budgets without improving their bottom line. So there is this path you have to walk and this point of view you have to nail where you say, okay, we use AI tools, but are they actually improving anything or are they just another spend factor we have to calculate for, but it doesn't actually produce any ROI for our business. And this might sound discouraging, but for job seekers, it could actually be good news, because companies are still struggling to figure out how to make AI useful, which means human problem solving is still at the center of real business results. And this is also true about all the coding tools you may have come across. What AI does, and does really well, is it allows you to write more code faster. But writing code was never the bottleneck. It's human interaction that slows you down. The meetings, the transfer of knowledge, the onboarding to a code base, the understanding and reading of code is what takes the most amount of time, not writing it. AI supplements and speeds up the process of writing code, but it won't help you understand it. You still need to read code, and for that to be accessible, you need to understand code first. So you still need to learn programming. Even if you can program faster, it doesn't mean you understand programs faster. MIT's research shows the issue is not with the AI tools, but with how leaders are using them. Most are throwing money into flashy sales and marketing software that looks impressive but rarely moves the needle. The real value shows up in less glamorous areas like finance, supply chains, and operations. Think about streamlining invoicing, automating back office work, and replacing manual data entry. And for that, I want to give a quick anecdote, because I've worked at Scalable Capital for the duration of an internship, and I worked in client success where we handled everything from emails, phone calls, and the chat messages users left on using the chatbot on the website. Now, Salesforce was the tool that was utilized on the back end, so to speak, as a CRM and to interact with clients as an agent. Now, what I found is I did an internal study in combination with my university and the company, which was Scalable Capital, which, by the way, is one of Europe's fastest growing neo brokers, and it's also a unicorn. So it's a big tech company in fintech, basically in the fintech space. And what I found out is that there are so many processes that just could be completely killed or sped up with the use of AI that it would actually save the company 42,000 euros per year if they were either completely automated by changing a few lines of code or by drastically reducing the workload that a human agent needs to do by just reviewing a change and not making the change itself. There is this path you need to walk and figure out whether it is unnecessary to spend a lot of money on AI tools, or you are too late and don't spend any money on anything related to AI or don't even use AI itself, which was the case for Scalable's customer success department, as I was there at least. Now, the perfect balance should be in the middle between the two. So you should always find a way to stay at the edge, but not fall down the edge, so to speak. All right. So companies that succeed with AI are using it to free up employees to do higher value work and not to replace them outright, which is exactly what I meant. If a customer support agent can dedicate more time to helping a customer with a complex task that needs human intervention, then this customer will receive the best service possible. But if it's just another query in an email asking something like opening hours, for example, an AI chatbot can really come in handy and serve these types of requests in a faster amount than any human ever could, 24/7 for much cheaper cost. So the real value shows up in less glamorous areas like finance, well, I talked about it, supply chains and operations, and admin work in general. So many admin tasks can get automated, or at least half automated, where a human just needs to review them but not actually do them fully. Think about streamlining invoicing, automating back office work, and replacing manual data entry. Companies that succeed with AI are using it to free up employees to do higher value work and not to replace them outright, which is another thing we had that's scalable when a customer is onboarding. So you have a new customer and that customer is entering data into their account, like many customers do when they first create an account with a company. Then there is this problem during onboarding where you might face a restriction as a customer, because if your onboarding data does not match with the data the system expects, then you can face multiple problems. The product won't work for you. You need a human agent to intervene and check the data entry. And that was a huge problem that could easily be automated, for example, with AI review, or for example, when you make the HTML input tags on your website better, essentially. You need to require a regex format for your HTML text, which was not put in place, at least of my knowledge, which could be done in a couple of minutes, just for things like German street names. So to give an example, a German street name can be, for example, let's call it Main Street. So Main is always clear. I guess that's always the same name. But what is not clear is how you write it, how you fully write it. So the German street can be either written as this. It can also be abbreviated as this, or it can be written as this variation with this as, let me quickly, I don't have it on my keyboard either, but it's an SZ symbol. So you could either write it like this as well. So these are the variations, and the system we had in place did not recognize if you are from Main Street, for example, and if you wrote it in either of these ways. For our system, these were 3 completely separate streets, and this needed human review. Now, this is absolutely unnecessary, because I think I've made my point very clear. AI could help supplement these cases and use some sort of normalization to always abbreviate a street name, for example, and thus save hundreds of work hours a year, and leading the human agents to solve more complex tickets way more and easier. Okay, so let's get back to it. Startups are winning by staying focused. The lead's author pointed out that small startups run by 20-year-olds are doing better than Fortune 500 giants, because these startups are growing revenues from 0 to 20 mil in a year because they pick one problem and solve it with AI. For job seekers, this means 2 things. First, smaller companies may actually be better places to learn and grow since they are applying AI in focused, practical ways. And second, the best opportunities will come from organizations that understand their pain points and use AI to remove them, not the ones chasing high. I couldn't agree more. So it is very important to stay on the edge of AI, but not to waste time trying every new tool. It's okay to be on an adoption curve, to be like on the early adopter side, but I think you shouldn't overdo it. You should try new tools once you think they are necessary, but you shouldn't play around with them for your own purpose when they are too new for you to verify that they have any real value. So the AI bubble and what it means for workers. MIT's findings line up with what OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said recently. He warned that an AI bubble could pop and investors could lose billions. While that is bad for hype-driven stock prices, it also means AI adoption will be slower than some fear. Instead of mass layoffs, most companies will be experimenting for years before they figure out how to use AI effectively. That buys workers time to adapt, learn, and grow their skills. So here's what the article suggests what you should do next. The clear takeaway is that jobs are not disappearing overnight, but the nature of jobs is shifting. So companies need people who can recognize where AI can actually save them time or money, bridge the gap between business needs and technical tools, and work with automation rather than ignore it, which is just what I talked about in our example here with the onboarding data in a pretty boring role that every company that lets users register for an account needs to face in one or the other way. So, if you're job hunting, highlight your ability to solve problems, adapt quickly, and use AI tools in practical ways. Do not just say you know how to use ChatGPT, show how you can improve workflows or save money with it, which is exactly what I did. I showed my worth by writing an extensive report about how problems like these could be solved either with AI or just by coding a better interface for users. And this way, it saves the company not only time but also a lot of money. So the bottom line is that most companies are failing with AI. That should reassure job seekers that human skills are still essential, but it should also motivate you to lean in. The winners in the job market will be the people who treat AI as a tool and not a threat, and who know how to connect it to a real business value. So in other words, AI is not replacing you anytime soon, but the person who learns to use it better than you just might.